In previous tutorials, Rick showed us how to assemble the Mr.Bulletfeeder by Double Alpha on a 650. We talked about how to assemble the collator correctly so the bullets are feeding down as they should, how to adjust the parts there which are crucial for correct function, and Rick showed us how to assemble the dropper assembly to the tool head on the 650 and adjust its height correctly for best performance. Now on a 1050, most of that remains just the same. You will want to set the powder funnel same way as we did in the 650 to make sure that you're flaring the brass just enough but not too much. You want the bullets to sit and not tip, but you don't need to open up the brass more than is necessary. You want to make sure the dropper is set correctly so that each time you bring the tool head down, releases one bullet only to the waiting brass. So all of that setup is exactly the same as it is on the 650. The difference becomes primarily in adjusting the position of the bullet feeder and perhaps making adjustments to the spring. The one issue that can come up with the 1050, because the tool head is moving up and down, and because in the down position you really don't want the spring to be pulled too tight, what will then occur is that in the up position the spring tends to be pretty loose, and it can create a trap here that will cause bullets as they fall down the tube to pull in the spring. And I've got to kind of accentuate that here to make it happen. You can get the bullets being trapped in the spring, and if that happens and you don't notice it, the bullets may fill up the spring all the way up to the collator and then jam the collator. So to prevent that happening, there are a couple of things you can do. One quick and easy solution is to simply remove the cap. You can screw the spring out here clockwise, counterclockwise to remove it, and then shorten the spring. Just use a wire cutter and cut perhaps an inch off. Don't take too much off because you don't want the spring to be too tight. Cut it just a little bit, make sure the edge is clean there so you're not getting anything that can catch on the bullets, and then screw it back in, take off perhaps half an inch and try it, take off another half an inch and see how that goes. And then once back into position, you just want to make sure that when the tool head is in the up position, you're not getting that pooling effect of the bullets pooling in the spring. Another possible solution, which is real easy to implement, is just take a piece of wire and attach it in such a way that it prevents the spring from bending into a position that allows it to pull. For instance, right there. I could open that screw on the case feeder, attach this piece of wire over there, just allow it to wrap around the spring, and make sure you use a wire that is thick enough so that it doesn't fit into the spring between the coils. And this will now work flawlessly, and the spring will not be able to pull. So pay attention to that as you set up your 1050, because again, you don't want too much tension on the dropper on the one hand, but on the other hand, you don't want the spring sagging too much to create a trap where the bullets can get stuck on the way down. As we mentioned regarding the 650, it's very important that nothing disturbs the dropper from being lifted up and down as it feeds the bullets. Since it's going to be mounted fairly close to the powder funnel and the powder dropper system here, you want to make sure that they're not rubbing up against each other. Sometimes the little clip that we have here, which holds the inner dropper tube in place, if that clips in the wrong angle, it may be rubbing up against the bottom of the powder measure. So you want to just turn that around into an angle that moves it away from the powder measure, and then that problem should be resolved. But anytime you see that something's disturbing the dropper from moving smoothly up and down, you need to see what that is and make sure you remove it, because the dropper does have to move freely. So now we've got everything set up just right on this 1050. Let's use our Mr. Bulletfeeder by Double Alpha to load some bullets.